And now you move on from Dallas and you go play in Philly with Allen Iverson.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just tell me what that was like, playing with a guy like AI, the talent, just being around him all the time, just everything about Allen Iverson is so mesmerizing. When you were getting there, was that something like you were really looking forward to?
It's crazy. I mean, us in the NBA, we see these type guys. We're around these guys all the time. In the summertime, we're training with each other. So it wasn't mesmerizing. Obviously to some other people it would be, but not to me. It was like, I know he's a dog, meaning he's going to go out there and give it his all and try to win games and try to win a championship. And I want to be a part of that. I want to be one of his guys that he leads to the championship. So, the way he fights and the way he played, he made you want to do those same things and play just as hard. So getting to Philly, I was more mesmerized, to be honest with you, by Larry Brown because of his, his coaching history. I knew he was a great teacher, and I wanted to learn and get better in the game. So, but Allen Iverson, he opened arms to me, and he cracked jokes on me. He drew me. It was one day. He's one of my best friends while I was there. To be honest with you, him and Aaron McKee, and Derek Coleman, we spent hours and hours and hours together on and off the court. So, it became a very good friendship. We still talk to this day.
What was it like going against AI in practice?
It was good because he said I used to foul all the time. All they would do is say, "Stop fouling, Buck. Stop fouling." I was like, they ain't calling that in practice, bro. So it was good. We had a lot of, when he did practice, we had some battles, but, obviously he won, 99.9% of the battles. But, it was fun because, if you guard Allen Iverson every day in practice or one of the days he did practice, once a season, I mess with him about, you're probably going to be ready for the rest of those guys in the NBA.
If Allen Iverson played today, do you think that he would, be more inclined to go to practice and lift weights and all those different things, or AI was AI and no matter what era you put him in,
that's why you love him because he is who he is. He wasn't going to change for no era. He just was going to shoot more threes this era, but he still was going to be the same pit bull attacking that basket. He played so hard. None of the team guys on the team ever cared that AI didn't practice. It was a breath of fresh air watching him play in the game. So we understood if he did that and practice, he was only going to play 5 years. So none of us really gave a rat's ass about him practicing. We gave him a little flack about it every day. But we didn't care because, he can score 50. And back then 50 was like 75 now. And we had a chance to win. And in any given night, he could score 50 and he could get, 12 assists, so it made everybody else's jobs easy, including Larry Brown. And I think Larry Brown is just such a teacher who wanted his guys to be on the floor. But I think he ultimately understood that Allen Iverson needs rest.
What was that relationship between Larry Brown and Allen Iverson?
It was good. They, just like every coach and star, you're going to have some little tits and tat, but both of those guys loved and respect each other. I'm pretty sure those guys still stay in contact with each other. And every day, Coach pushed him, and every day, Allen pushed Coach's buttons. So it was one of those, very loved son-father relationships, I think.
So now you move on to Denver, and you get to play with another young stud in Carmelo Anthony. Could you just tell us about those years with George Karl and Carmelo? And to see, young Melo really progress and grow. Were you able to be a mentor to Melo? And what was your relationship with him?
It's funny. Melo, when I got there, it was the second year, and he was already doing his thing. He was, already a superstar, to be honest with you. And, that Denver team was probably the closest team I've ever been with when it comes from top to bottom. We spent all the time together. All of us was together all the time. So watching him grow and become a mega star and four-time Olympian or something like that. It was amazing to see the growth in him. And but it was fun. Melo was one of those guys that people complained about him passing, but I loved it because he always passed me the ball. So I didn't complain about it at all. Yeah. So I had my best years in Denver with Melo. So I got nothing but great things to say about Melo.
So if you were to compare AI scoring and Melo scoring, how close are they on that, scale? Obviously, they scored it in different ways, but, what was, do you put Melo on that same tier as AI in terms of being?
Oh, hell yeah. You got to put Melo. For 7 years, Melo was the best scorer in the NBA, and it wasn't even close to, true score. And he wasn't the best player, but I mean, Melo could score anywhere on the court. I mean, Allen Iverson couldn't score on the block. He couldn't post you up. He couldn't offensive rebound consistently like Melo could. So you definitely can put Melo on that. Melo's one of the greatest scorers. Obviously, we know about Allen Iverson, but Melo, I mean, he's one of the best to ever do it. And he's still proving that today that he still can score. You know, he can't score all the time like he used to because he don't get the same amount of touches. But that boy was special when it comes to putting that ball in the basket.
Yeah, and I think like with Carmelo, a lot of people, you know, give him slack. And I think he gets it because he was such a good teammate. He's so unselfish, like you said. Like, it's just unfortunate because a guy like Carmelo, he's so talented, he's so good, but yet again, like he's such a good teammate. So it's just frustrating to see like these younger kids now today watching the game, they don't really understand how great Carmelo was. So it's great to hear you talk about Melo in such a high regard, you know?
No, for sure. Yeah, he was special. I think, you know, some of these guys, if you're a true basketball fan, and whether you're young, old, or you understand how good Carmelo was at scoring the basketball. I mean, it's the LeBron James effect. There are a lot of guys that will be forgotten and not appreciated because they played when LeBron James played. Same thing with the Jordan era. I mean, a lot of guys were great, but you get overshadowed by that one special great player that kind of dominated your era. And, you know, with Melo, they're best friends, you know, and was drafted in the same draft and for a long time played the same position. You know what I'm saying? So there was always comparative. And then Bron ended up winning championships and Melo didn't. So you kind of forget about the greatness of Melo as time goes on.
Yeah, and I also love the fact that Melo was just like a guy who would take on challenges. Like I'll go back now and I'll watch old Melo series of him in the playoffs in Denver. And when he used to go toe to toe with Kobe in those, you know, those Western semis series, those in the Western Conference Finals, even those games were absolutely incredible to see Kobe go at it with Melo, and they were going toe for toe in those series. This the only thing is, you know, you come up one or two plays short in
right.
the playoffs like that. So those series, Carmelo was absolutely dominant in.
Yeah, I mean, Melo's been dominant his whole career, regardless if it was in the playoffs or regular season until probably, you know, last 3 or 4 years. You know what I mean? When the trade to probably Oklahoma City, things kind of changed because he played with Russ, and you know he doesn't have the ball as much as he did in New York, and then he gets to Houston, and you know that obviously was a horror show. And now he's playing with 2 ball dominant guys up in Portland. So, but Melo's efficient. You know, he's always been great. You talk about him going toe to toe to Kobe. I like to look at the other way. Kobe had to go toe to toe to him because Melo outweighed him and really put him on the block and beat him up and beat him up and beat him up. So Melo really took it and wanted to win. Melo just never had enough or another true superstar with him to help him to get over the hump and winning the championship.